morning, everybody. Good morning. It's another day that the Lord has made, and I'm so glad that God has given us another day. The Bible has promised us that with a new day, we have new mercy. And let's show God that we appreciate it by walking by faith, because without faith, it's impossible to please God. Walking in love, because He said that He is love Himself, and walking in obedience, because Jesus said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And when we falter in those areas, when we falter in treating God right, when we falter in treating our neighbors right, let's make sure we walk in the true spirit of repentance, which is just not simply apologizing for the behavior, which is not simply just changing a behavior, but really trying to change our mindset about that thing that God calls an offense, so we're less likely to offend God. You know, I'm gonna, if you looked at the caption for the video this morning, it says, you know, checking on maintaining your spiritual wellness. And let me tell you something. It is very, very important that we're cognizant of our spiritual shape. And I'll give you an example. I'm the team mom for my son's football team, and it's homecoming week for them. And so yesterday we played dodgeball after practice. You know, and I've lost a lot of weight, and I thought I was doing so well, you know. And I got out on the field, and we played, and we, you know, threw the ball, and I was just running, did more running probably that night than I did in years. And so when I got home, I started noticing some discomfort in my shoulder, in my back, and in my legs. And, you know, Travis was kind of laughing at me, but he said, you ain't what you used to be. And I said, no, time bring about a change. But, you know, I noticed that because I hadn't been as active as I was in the past, that it hurt me physically, and I could feel the effects of my inactivity. Well, it's the same thing in the spiritual world. We have to make sure we are maintaining our spiritual health. And how do we do that? First, by loving God and loving those around us, by reading His Word, by praying, by servicing, you know, by praise and worship, all of those things that we know to do. We have to make sure that we attack it just like a physical fitness regimen, because what happens is when you become inactive in one of those areas, you know, it's going to take a toll on your spiritual wellness, and you're going to feel it. You may not feel it immediately. When I walked off the field and stuff, I was okay. You know, I was tired, but I was okay. But, you know, even now, this morning, I can still feel the effects of me trying to go out and run and play, and I hadn't been doing that on the normal. You know, the devil wants us to get used to or get comfortable with not being as vigorous about our spiritual wellness as we should. And then when something comes up and we got to dive in and we try to pray and we try to praise and worship, or we try to fast, or we try to do these things, it becomes a little difficult. It becomes uncomfortable because we have been inactive in that aspect. So I want to encourage all of us to make sure that we are maintaining our spiritual wellness, those things that we know keep us close to God. Let's continue to do things like that. And, you know, just like in physical wellness, you know, there are some things that we can't eat. There are some things that we can't do and expect to be well. It's going to take a toll on our bodies. Just like me, you know, and I used to run track. I used to lift weights all the time. And so I quit for a while. And, you know, I just went out there and thought it was going to be well, you know, because I like, you know, daylight donuts in the morning and all of that. And it took a toll on me. Well, now, you know, I was looking because somebody was driving on the wrong side of the road. Help of Jesus. Anyway, you know, there are some things in our lives that we cannot ingest and expect to be physically well or spiritually well. You know what those things are. I know what those things are for me. So let's make sure that we are vigilant about our spiritual wellness, because I'm telling y'all, and I know those of you who are pressing to live right, you know what I'm getting ready to say. You know, we live in the last days, and the Bible makes it very clear that it's going to be a strain and a striving process for anybody to do well in this season. I'm telling you, it is it is going to be a push. The Lord knows that. He told us that before we got to this point in the timeline. He told us it was going to be rough. He told us that, even those who were the elect, if they weren't careful, would fall to spiritual unwellness. They would fall to the devices of the enemy. And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we stay spiritually well. We want not only spiritually well, physically well, mentally well, emotionally well. And the only way we can do that is to keep that connection that we have with God, to love him with all of our heart, mind, and soul, and to love people, y'all. You ain't going to be spiritually well and mistreating people. You're not going to be emotionally well and mentally well and mistreating people, y'all. We cannot get to heaven. I was telling my best friend Mary, I said, we do so much church that we forgot how to be saved. We're not going to make it if we don't do what God tells us to do. And Jesus summed it up in two things. Spiritual wellness equals loving God with everything in you, plus loving people. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, where they're going, saved, unsaved, gay, straight, black, white, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter. We have to love. And if we do that, y'all, we will maintain our spiritual wellness, and we won't be out of wind. We won't be feeling these discomforts like I felt when I got off the field. Oh, my phone is going dead.